Good day, and thanks for tuning in. Today, we highlight a controversial moment involving Governor David Umahi, who recently refused to disclose the cost per kilometer of Nigeria's Lagos-Calabar coastal highway when asked by Arise News presenter Rufai Usaini. This refusal has sparked widespread debate about transparency and accountability in major infrastructure projects. Interestingly, some analysts have pointed to such lapses in financial disclosure and governance as one of the factors cited by the Canadian government in classifying Nigeria's major political parties, APC and PDP, as organizations working against the progress of Nigeria. This situation underscores the critical importance of openness in public spending and the far-reaching implications of perceived mismanagement on both domestic and international perceptions. Why did the Canadian government classify the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party as organizations that engage in subversion of democracy and perpetration of corruption? Let us get a preview. A Nigerian politician, Douglas Egarevba, who had been a member of both the PDP 1999 to 2007 and APC 2007-2017, applied for asylum in Canada in 2017. His claim was denied because the Canadian Immigration and Refugee Board, IRB, found him inadmissible under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, IRPA. The court determined that during the years he was a member, the PDP, and by extension APC, had been involved in political violence, electoral manipulation, and acts undermining democracy, especially around the 2003, 2004, and 2024 elections in Nigeria. Under Canadian law, belonging to an organization that engages in such subversive or violent acts makes a person inadmissible, even if they did not personally participate. Although some headlines said Canada classified APC and PDP as terrorist organizations, the ruling didn't formally list them as terrorists. Instead, it treated them as organizations that engaged in subversion of democracy, which legally triggers the same immigration consequence. Egarevba's appeal and judicial review were both dismissed by the Federal Court of Canada, confirming the original decision. The case has sparked debate in Nigeria, but legally the finding applies only in the immigration context, not as a nationwide or global terrorist designation. We will examine some of the reasons why the Canadian government classify the APC and PDP as organizations that engaged in subversion of democracy. The APC engages in subversion of democracy and perpetration of corruption on an industrial nuclear scale. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was ranked as the third most corrupt person in the world by OCCRP in 2024. We will look at some few examples, and you will see why many governments, including that of Canada, are calling the APC-led government all sorts of names. David Umahi, the Minister for Works, was recently asked about the cost per kilometer of the Coastal Highway project. However, he declined to provide a figure, refusing to disclose the specific cost details. His refusal has drawn attention, as the project is a major infrastructure initiative, and stakeholders are keen on transparency regarding funding and expenditure. The lack of clarity has sparked discussions on accountability and public access to information about government contracts and projects. Why did he refuse to answer that question? We will answer that shortly, but watch this report first.
And I'm sure you will allow me do a right of reply, because it's obvious you came for me today, my very good minister friend.
Hang on a minute.
I'm still talking. Hang on a minute.
To finish.
After you went to report me to... You can finish, but after you reported me to President Tinubu, you are on here with me again today, but it's fine. I will respond to you, Minister. Go ahead. I'd like to interject. This monologue is quite long. So, at first, Minister, after you had gone to report me in front of President Tinubu and said all sorts, anyway, I am not beholden to you. My job is accountability.
You're too small for me to report you to the President.
No, but they are empirical.
You're too small
Minister,
for me to report you to the
Minister,
President.
let me speak. Minister, let me speak. I have empirical evidence. The world watched it on the commissioner of the project when you mentioned the questions I asked you to the president. That was reporting me to the president officially. The world watches, so you don't need to dilly-dally about the empirical facts. I don't talk without facts, Minister. You know, when I have my facts, I talk. And I insist on my question when I ask on cost.
Let me only address you,
Minister. You will not allow me speak. The problem is you will not allow me speak. You spoke for over 20 minutes, over 10 minutes.
Because
now.
You don't know what you are speaking.
But let me speak. Let me speak. You will not.
What your profession is.
You will not allow me speak. You see, if you can just keep quiet and be calm and just allow me speak, I'll be happy. All right. So my question still persists as regards the cost per kilometer. You cannot tell me that we don't have a right to know the cost per kilometer. Even if it's an undulating landscape, give us all the facts and the details of the cost per kilometer. That's all we'll ask for. Other questions as regards the loans taken. Let me finish.
No. I will keep quiet for you to damage information.
Let me finish.
Listen to me.
Minister, you will not allow me to speak. The minister will not allow me to speak.
No. Don't do that with me.
Minister will not allow me to speak.
I was in your studio.
Minister will not allow me to speak.
And when the first section was on, and I ran the figures. And what you're asking us is 750 kilometers of coastal highway. We should tell you cost per kilometer. So you multiply by 750. That's nonsensical.
No, so tell me the cost per kilometer. There's nothing too hard for you to tell me that figure. You've not still told me that figure. So I was right on that point. The second point...
Because you don't understand anything.
The second point I'm trying to make is
You don't understand anything. I'm a professor in this field.
Okay.
You don't understand anything.
What university gave you professorship in this field?
You cannot ask me to tell you a cost.
What university gave you professorship in engineering? I didn't know you were Professor Umahi, Minister. I didn't know. So... Please,
I'm professor in practice.
In practice.
I'm professor in practice.
Okay.
I understand engineering very well.
A quick overview of Nigeria's ambitious Lagos-Calabar coastal highway project, a project many called good idea but wrong timing. Based on information available on the web, the highway spans approximately 700 kilometers, connecting Victoria Island in Lagos to Calabar in Cross River State. Along the way, it passes through key coastal states like Ogun, Ondo, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers. The estimated cost of this massive project ranges between $11 billion and $13 billion, or roughly 15.6 to 19.5 trillion naira. The cost per kilometer for the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway is approximately 22.29 billion naira per kilometer, approximately $28.76 million per kilometer, to 27.86 billion naira per kilometer, approximately $35.95 million per kilometer. Funding and construction are managed by the Federal Ministry of Works, with High Tech Construction Company Limited leading the development. Construction began in March 2024, and the project is expected to be completed over the next 8 years, with a target finish by 2031. Once completed, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will improve trade, boost regional connectivity, and support Nigeria's economic growth, linking major coastal cities and ports along the southern corridor. Now, can you see the cost? How can one justify building 1 kilometer road at $28.76 million to $35.95 million? In a place like Nigeria, where labor cost can be slightly below doing the same project in the West, where on earth is this justifiable? The Minister of Works, David Umahi, was sweating and struggling to provide an average cost per kilometer of the project on national TV. Why? Was it because he cannot justify the amount? Watch him again. He said he is a professor. Professor of what? An engineering professor? Undertaking a project, but don't know the bill of quantity? An engineering professor undertaking a project but don't know the average cost per kilometer? An engineering professor undertaking a project but cannot answer basic questions concerning the project? Now, let us see other similar road projects around the world and the cost used to execute such projects. Now, let me make this clear. Terrains are different and road projects' costs are different. This is just a guide. Number 1. In India, Eastern Peripheral Expressway, Delhi NCR, road project with total length of approximately 135 kilometers and total cost of approximately 11,000 crore Indian rupees, about $1.5 billion. cost per kilometer at approximately $11.1 million per kilometer. The Eastern Peripheral Expressway was constructed to decongest traffic in the National Capital Region by providing an alternative route for vehicles bypassing Delhi. The project included the construction of elevated corridors and multi-level interchanges. Number 2. In Uganda, Iganga to Baloba to Kamuli Road Project, with total length of 56 kilometers and total cost of $70 million. Cost per kilometer is approximately $1.25 million per kilometer. This road project, completed by the Arab Contractors Company, aimed to enhance regional connectivity and facilitate trade between the eastern towns of Iganga, Baloba, and Kamuli in Uganda. The project was executed efficiently, with a significant portion of the road completed within a year. Number 3. In Morocco, Tiznit-Dakhla Highway Road Project with total length of approximately 51 kilometers and total cost of $476 million. Cost per kilometer is approximately $9.2 million per kilometer. Morocco's Tiznit-Dakhla Highway is one of the country's largest infrastructure projects designed to enhance connectivity between the southern regions and the rest of the country. The high cost per kilometer reflects the challenging terrain and advanced engineering required for the project's completion. Now, can you see other similar projects? Why is that of Nigeria very different? Why is it that the minister cannot confidently state the cost of the project in terms of cost per kilometer? This information is of public interest. The Nigerian taxpayer should know it. Further, during an interview with Arise TV, Governor David Umahi was asked about the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA, of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. He was unable to provide an answer, raising concerns about transparency and compliance with environmental regulations. The exchange drew attention because the highway is a major infrastructure project with potential environmental and social impacts, and stakeholders are keen on understanding whether proper environmental safeguards have been assessed and implemented. Watch this report.
You mentioned that the ESIA was being carried out at the moment. The EIA Act of 1992.
I need interpreter.
Well, you have enough people next to you. The EIA Act of 1992 states that an EIA must be approved by the Federal Ministry of Environment before the commencement of any project.
No,
unless an exemption has
not
been
done
given.
so. There is preliminary approval, there is final approval.
Has an exemption been given? And if so, if you have the preliminary approval...
Exemption of what?
For the project to start without the final approval. If you have the preliminary approval, can this be shared?
We are following due process.
So can we have a
It
copy
is
of the
federal
preliminary
government that
approval?
gives the approval. It's not you.
So
It's
can we
federal
have a copy
government.
of the preliminary approval?
We have the approval.
And you can make that public to the media?
Everything in order.
Okay.
If a proper EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, was carried out, why were these people lamenting? Were they adequately compensated? And what about the quality of the road? Can you see the self-described professor of engineering struggling to provide basic information that a professor should know? These are just a few reasons why the Canadian government and other governments have classified the APC-led government and the PDP as organizations that engage in subversion of democracy and corruption on turbo-nuclear scale.